This tablet is absolutely, hands down, the best small tablet I've ever used. And I'm thinking of returning it. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. For now, let me tell you about the Lenovo Legion Y700 2023 edition. What's up, my dude? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and welcome back to the Spare Tech Room, where I try to channel the power of hyperfixation to hopefully help you make better tech choices. Now, if you're not already familiar, there are a few different versions of the Y700 tablet. The one that I have here comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor. I'll be sure to link this one in particular as a pinned comment and in the description box below so you don't accidentally end up buying the wrong one. Of course, using those links does help out the channel, but I should mention that everything I say in this video is my own personal opinion. No one is paying me to make this video, and Lenovo did not send me this tablet for free. Although if they did want to send me some free stuff, I am totally for it. But who knows, maybe if I get enough people to subscribe to this channel, they will. So yeah, subscribe if you want to, or at least like the video. Either way, I appreciate it. Now, when it came to picking a solid small tablet, there were three things that I was specifically looking for. And in this video, I'm going to try to explain why I think this particular tablet does those three things better than just about any other. But if there's something specific that you'd like to know about the Y700 that I don't cover in this video, let me know in the comments. As I mentioned, the 2023 version of the Y700 comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, which if you're not familiar with Snapdragon processors, the 8 Gen 1 is super powerful and can handle just about anything you throw at it. This tablet is super thin and light. It comes with an aluminum body, so it's durable. And of course, it comes with an 8.8-inch IPS display. The screen resolution is 2560 by 1600. It's fully laminated, and you can crank the refresh rate all the way up to 144 hertz and a brightness of about 500 nits, which is basically all to say that it's bright, it's fast, and it's really pretty to look at. The tablet does come with two different storage and RAM options, although most people are gonna wanna go with pretty much just the base model, which is 256 gigabytes of built-in storage and 12 gigs of RAM. Also, speaking of storage, it does come with a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that storage, but we'll talk a little bit about that more when we kind of go around the tablet. Inside the box, you get, of course, the tablet, a USB-C to USB-C cable, and a 68-watt GAN charger, which is pretty legit to just throw in with the tablet. Now, granted, the max charging speed of the tablet is 45 watts, but still, a 68-watt charger is not cheap, so really solid that they threw that in there. There are also a bunch of different accessories that you can pick up separately for this tablet. They have screen protectors and all different kinds of cases, and even a pencil, which is really inexpensive and handy. I'll link to some of my favorite accessories in the description box below if you want to check them out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look around this thing, because there are definitely a few different build features and quality of life choices that they've made that I want to show you guys. To the top-down camera. All right, so here we are. You're kind of getting a look at my home screen here. Of course, we have that 8.8-inch AMOLED display, which is absolutely gorgeous. You do have a bit of bezels on the top and bottom here, but that really works well, I think, for me, especially when you're gaming. You don't want your hands kind of touching the screen. So I like that they have those top and bottom bezels here. It really shows that this is made for gaming. You do have a couple of cameras. You have a selfie cam as well as some cameras on the back here. I'm not one to take photos with my tablet, and I don't think you should either. That's what we have phones for. So you can, though. They do have HD cameras on there, so if you want to do that, you totally can. Going around the device, as I said, it is pretty slim and sleek. It does have that aluminum unibody, so it's pretty durable. Along the side of the device here, you have a volume rocker as well as the power/sleep button. And something you might be able to tell here is that this power button has some kind of like a textured roughness to it. So that way, if you're just trying to blindly touch it, you will be able to feel that there is the textured button up top, and you won't accidentally hit the volume instead. So that's nice. You have a couple of microphones built in here. So if you want to use that for like video chatting along the bottom, or I guess this would also be the right side, you have the speaker grills here. The speakers are also on the other side as well, so you get that kind of stereo sound, and they do mention having Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. You can kind of see that there. Also on that bottom side is one of the USB-C ports. You have another USB-C port along the other side of the tablet, so that does allow you to charge it either way or to do video out through the long side USB-C port. You can also connect a USB-C kind of telescoping controller, which I love to do, so you can play either in that landscape mode, or you can do so vertically and play like those 3DS and DS games, which is really fun. Moving along on the other side, as I mentioned, you have another speaker setup there. You do also have, I guess, along the bottom side here, an SD card slot, which will hold up to a 1 terabyte micro SD card. So again, another reason why you really don't need to go with the higher level version of this. You can just get the 256 gigabyte hard drive and slap in a 1 TB SD or micro SD card and you'll be totally fine there. Also really helpful for game emulation or throwing media on here. And that's about it. You have a really nice, small, sleek, sturdy, and kind of well-structured tablet here. So let's jump back to the other camera and continue. Now, right off the bat, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. There are really two things about this tablet that I didn't love. First of all, to get the best price on it, you're going to want to go with the Chinese version. There is one with a global ROM, but it's definitely more expensive. And the only real problem with going with the Chinese version of the tablet is that when you fire it up, it is going to be in Chinese. So you might have to fire up Google Translate as well to make sure you change the settings to your native language. Granted, that's not a huge deal, but it is a little annoying. Also, if I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of Lenovo's launcher, but this is really just a personal preference thing, and you can easily just download Nova Launcher and swap over to that. The other kind of more significant issue that I have with it though is that the tablet didn't come with Google Play and the Google Play Store already installed in it. And if you're not already kind of a tech head, you might not know how to sideload APKs onto the tablet. I had to do some Googling myself to figure out how to do that. And if you want, maybe I could put together a video showing you how to install Google Play on this tablet. But even if not, I will link to the website that I found that helped walk me through the whole process. So it is a little bit of a hassle, especially if you're not technologically savvy, but I got it done in just a few minutes, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But yeah, once you switch it over to English, sideload Google Play, and for me, swap over to the Nova launcher, this thing's ready to rock. Now, as I mentioned before, there were three things that I was really looking for in a small tablet, and this absolutely crushes all three of them. First up is probably the easiest. I just wanted a simple e-reader. Now, here's the thing. Of course, you can just grab an Amazon Kindle for super cheap online, and that's going to work just fine as an e-reader, but that's really all it's going to do. So if you want something that's going to be able to do more than that, you're going to want to look here. Also, not every book or comic book is available on Amazon Kindle. So if you're somebody like me and you like to sideload your own kind of PDFs or comic book files or things like that to own on your device as opposed to having to deal with some other service, Kindle's really not the way to go for that. Now, of course, there are other tablets, iPads and other Android tablets that they make that will work for a similar kind of use. But the problem is they're all way too big. For me, I want something that I can kind of take with me on the go, or I could be sitting in bed and reading a book without having to deal with this monstrosity of a 11, 12, 13-inch tablet. And I really feel like 8 inches or 8.8 inches is the sweet spot for that. It's big enough, but it's not too cumbersome to kind of wield around. So yeah, an e-reader, easy peasy, done. My second reason for getting a tablet like this was, of course, for media consumption, which I think is what most people use tablets for. And of course, it crushes in that department too. Something that a lot of people might not know is that not every tablet has the ability to stream things like Netflix and YouTube at full HD. There's actually a specific chip or something like that that you need in order to get full HD out of your streaming services. And this has that. And of course, you have that micro SD card slot that we talked about earlier. So if I wanted to just drop a bunch of movies on this device to watch offline, maybe I was going on a flight or something like that, this will totally work. Of course, you also have that Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision, the two speakers on the side of the device if you wanted to get a more cinematic experience. And a little bonus, when it comes to watching a video or watching Netflix or YouTube and maybe doing some web browsing on the side, you do have the ability to multitask on here, so you can have multiple windows open at the same time. Now, the third thing that I was looking for, which I think for me personally is the biggest, is that I wanted a device that was bigger than my phone, but not as big as a laptop, that I could use for playing games, and specifically for game emulation. And this tablet is an emulation dream. You're gonna be able to play all of the classic 8 and 16-bit games from like your Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and all that stuff, but you'll also be able to play PlayStation 2, GameCube, and even some Nintendo Switch games at high resolutions. So if you ever wanted to play a PS2 game but at 1080p, you can definitely do that on this device. Also, you can pick up some really cool telescopic controllers. One that I just grabbed here is the Absolute G9, and you can hook this right into the device and just have kind of a giant Nintendo Switch. Of course, I'm not going to be showing you any Switch games and how I can play them on here in this video because I am afraid of Nintendo and I don't want them coming after my firstborn child. But you'll have to trust me, you can hook this up to a device just like this and you're off to the races playing whatever games you want. Of course, you can do this not only with game emulation, but with game streaming. So I can connect this wirelessly to my gaming PC or to my PS5 or Xbox if you have one of those, and stream your games over the network right to this device. Another thing that I think is really cool about this specific unit is that not only does it have that USB-C port at the bottom of the device if you're looking at it vertically, so you can connect these kind of controllers to it that way, but it has the USB-C port on the side. So if you flip the device around and plug it into the USB-C port on the side, you can play this in kind of a vertical orientation. So if you're playing things like Nintendo DS or 3DS, you can have your dual screen setup and not really eat into any of this real estate on the screen. It's honestly awesome, and it's such a simple thing that you don't really think about until you use it, but this is a 3DS and DS perfect device. If you're curious about the controller that I'm using here, as I mentioned, it's the Absolute G9. They actually just did a Kickstarter, which is why I have this now. But I'll try to link to that in the description, as well as maybe some other controllers that I would recommend. Anyway, I could really do a whole series of videos going over how good this thing is for game emulation and how to set it up for different emulators. If you want to see something like that, let me know in the comments. I'm definitely down to do those kinds of videos. But here's the thing, as much as I absolutely love this, there is one reason why I might just be returning it. And that is because Lenovo just came out with a brand new version of the Y700. And as I mentioned, this comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. The new version comes with the 8 Gen 3, which is pretty significantly more powerful than this device. So instead of playing some Switch games, that device will play pretty much any Switch game that's available to play on Android emulators. And it really comes down to how much that power is worth to you. Right now, you can pick up the 2023 version of the Y700 for around $300 on AliExpress. I was able to get mine for about $270 something. So maybe keep an eye out for sales. I'll link to the best deal that I can find though. And the new version, the 2024 edition with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, is floating around $500, although you can get it for a little bit less if you get the right sales. So the question is that bit of extra power worth the additional $150 or at worst $200? And that's hard to say. That's going to be totally up to you. Let me know what you think though in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion. I also recently did another video where I review an Android handheld system. So it's kind of an all-in-one device that you don't have to get a separate tablet and controller for. It's called the Anbernic RG556, and it is absolutely phenomenal if you're just looking for an all-in-one setup. So if you want to check that out, I will link to it right over here. You can jump on into that video next. Of course, if you want to see more videos just like this, make sure you subscribe. That way I can see you next time in the Spare Tech Room. All right, be good.